Okay, so what is burnout? According to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, burnout is physical, emotional, or mental exhaustion accompanied by decreased motivation, lowered performance, and negative attitudes towards oneself and others. Does it sound familiar to anyone?
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay, so some signs of burnout is fatigue, dissatisfaction with your life or your work, headaches, insomnia or trouble sleeping, changes to your diet, little or no interest in things that are normally fun or exciting for you or others, avoiding or ghosting friends or family, and difficulty concentrating.
Okay, so what does burnout look like in JETAA? We're a volunteer organization, so we're trying to make time for our volunteer work after we are already depleted by our day jobs and personal lives. So we have JETAA responsibilities on top of those, and that can seem draining. So we brainstormed some ideas of what different positions in our group, what they struggle with. So for example, as president, sometimes I can feel overwhelmed. There's so many people that I have to keep on task, and there's so much to do. The vice president has big responsibilities. The treasurer has the whole chapter depends on getting that GIA budget in, and the event coordinator, he has to plan these events on a deadline. He has to get everything done by a certain time, even if things come up in his personal life. Webmaster is dealing with so many tech issues, and the secretary has to come to all the meetings and keep records of everything.
So eliminating stressors. If you begin to feel the symptoms of burnout, take some time to assess your situation, brainstorm which areas are within your control and where you can begin to make some changes. So they may need to be made in the following areas: your work life, your personal life, or your JETAA life, which is our main focus for today.
Reducing stress factors for JETAA leaders. Here are the topics we will cover in this section. 1, give autonomy. 2, redelegate tasks. 3, practice gratitude. 4, allow time off. 5, simplify. 6, get organized. 7, bring in outside help.
So the first one is to give autonomy. Is the officer feeling any sort of control in their position in your group? You can set goals as a team. Everyone should have a seat, and it should be collaborative, not authoritative. Give them a choice of what they want to work on, what type of project inspire them, or what kind of work, what are they passionate about, basically. Let them pick something that they want to do. Even if the project is not within a person's job description, be flexible and allow that member to work on that if they enjoy it and they express enthusiasm.
Okay, redelegating tasks. As president, I make the monthly task list for each officer. I try not to overwhelm anyone if they are busy. Sometimes things come up for an officer after the tasks have been assigned. And at that time, if they are too overwhelmed, I need to redelegate tasks to take some load off of them. So if the officer comes to me and expresses that they are experiencing too much stress, I am sympathetic to that, and I will ask for a volunteer to take over the task. If a volunteer is not stepping forward to take on the work, we do have a formal method of dividing up the tasks of a temporarily vacant position that we use when an officer is unable to perform their duties for any length of time, be it for a week or months or however long. We have in our bylaws who takes on the responsibilities when somebody's not there.
Okay, so as an example, this is some snippets from our actual bylaws. We have each officer position listed and the responsibility of each position, and in a separate section we have listed what to do in the event that this position is vacant. So for secretary, which is what you see here on the screen, should someone resign or we have a vacancy, most of the secretary duties go to the Michigan VP, which is not here, and some of the other responsibilities go to me, the webmaster. For example, we've had weddings, somebody had to take a month off, or family emergencies or health emergencies also, as well as, I don't know, home emergencies if you have to take care of a flood or any sort of weather.
Sick family members.
Sick family weather. Okay, so it becomes clear, according to the bylaws, who is ultimately responsible for picking up the slack when somebody cannot fulfill their duties for any time period.
Okay, next is practicing gratitude. So we have to take time to stop and think about all the things we're grateful for. As president, and I've seen other presidents before I was president, sometimes you just feel so overwhelmed when somebody drops the ball, you get kind of angry, you get kind of upset, but you got to take a step back and feel gratitude that these are people who are volunteering to help you, and everyone has their own bandwidth and their own capacity. So you want to regularly let your team know that you're grateful. You want to recognize your team members for their contributions and say thank you often. There's no monetary reward for this. So we're trying to make sure that our team views this as a positive and uplifting experience, okay? So we don't want to make this a toxic, joyless environment. That's not fun to work in, and people are just gonna quit. Another thing is gratitude is not just for the people you're thanking, it's also for yourself. It keeps you in a good mental health space to think about the things that you are grateful for. So gratitude will improve your own mental health, and it will boost your relationships with others. You'll feel better if you intentionally take time to focus on the positive aspects for a while.
So allow time off. So taking some brief time away from JAA responsibilities can re-energize your leaders and people in your group, facilitate an environment of support and transparency, be kind and understanding. Life will force JAA to take a backseat from time to time, and let your team know that you care about their health and well-being. If you don't want this person to quit, allow them to advocate for their needs, how much time they need off, give them the grace that they are having a harder time keeping up with their responsibilities. If you respond to officer burnout with anger, mockery, or resentment, or etc., the team member may disappear from JAA altogether, which doesn't help anybody. For time off, to reduce burnout, leaders may need to take the occasional week or month off. So tag team it. If somebody is not here to do this, someone else has to do it. And if nobody, volunteers, I think usually Alicia, the president, does it.
Right. I take over a lot, but not everybody has to be present at every event. That isn't necessary. We used to have the sort of system where we were trying to get everybody to come out every month for an in-person meeting, and we wanted everybody to come out to every event. That did not work. People burnt out very quickly. Mm-hmm. So now we have one main person in charge of each event, and then it's a choice as to whether all the other officers want to come. It's like, who is the main person handling this? Me. Who else wants to go? And it's not every officer every time. That helps a lot.
Yes.
All right, next is simplify the work. Can work be simplified? Often it can. We don't stop and think often about our processes, like, is everything I'm doing necessary? Is there a quicker way to do it? Is there a better way to do it? Is there new technology to do it better? So first, think about if what you're doing in each process is necessary, and make sure you save the bandwidth, your own bandwidth, for the important things. Like GIA, you need to do GIA and your key events. So maybe if you're having trouble with bandwidth, maybe you want to really think about what are the key events and responsibilities that you need to keep going. The next point is piggybacking on other people's events. You don't have to always have your own event. You can have a JETAA meetup at somebody else's event. That can also be a JETAA event, okay? So whether you are at a formal level, sharing funds and collaborating with somebody else, or whether it's just an informal thing where you're inviting JET alumni to, meet up with you to go to an anime convention or like a ohanami or something like that, you can join other events. You can also ask if you can copy another chapter's event plans and materials. I don't want people to feel like they have to reinvent the wheel when other chapters have already done it. We are all one community, and we want to share and we want to help each other succeed. So please don't feel afraid to ask other people, hey, I really liked what I saw you were doing online. Can you help me out by sharing some of your materials? Okay. And then the last point on simplifying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If you don't have the bandwidth to pull together an elaborate newsletter, for example, okay, that was me. I was trying to do a very elaborate newsletter every month. And there came to a point in my life, I have kids, I have work. I couldn't do it anymore. And I tried to set up a committee and I couldn't get people to step forward for it. So what I'm doing instead is I'm just sending a simple email instead. And when I have the energy, I try to put together something more elaborate, but a simple email is better than nothing. And having less ambitious or less frequent events instead of none, that's better than completely burning out.
Yeah, so just tagging on to the simplifying thing. So when I was in art school, my professor would tell me, oh, Lily, you're always finding the most complicated way to do something. There's always a simpler way to do something. Try that instead. So try that instead. Okay. All right. So another way to prevent burnout is get organized. So being organized leads to being less overwhelmed. Break things up into smaller steps with deadlines. So if you have to plan an event, have someone call the venue to see how much money it is to rent that event for that day, and then have somebody else print posters or promotional materials, and then have somebody else send emails out, right? Those are breaking down into smaller steps. So keep your tasks list for all leaders online with agreed upon deadlines. So I know at the end of our meeting minutes every month, we have a to-do list for everybody. And then it's expected that by the time the next month rolls around, everybody will have finished those tasks. But yeah, so take advantage of current technology. So leave more time for self-care and speed things up with tech. So meet online instead of having in-person meetups. It would reduce commuting. Use AI tools for idea generation and writing first drafts for emails, for example. Keep files organized on an online database. So for example, we have a Google Drive that we keep all of our information on so that everybody has access to it. Keep meetings organized on time and on task. Use the basics of Robert's rules. If you are not aware, Robert's rules is a way to carry meetings and keep minutes as well. So have roles, have somebody who writes the agenda, have someone who time how much time we spend on one topic, and have somebody else keep minutes based on the agenda we already had. And set a regular recurring time for meetings. Right now, Great Lakes, we do every second Sunday of the month from 2:30 to 4:30. And if you can't make it, we always ask people to read the minutes after the meeting.
Yeah, and that's been very helpful for us because we used to every single month be like, when can we meet? When can everybody meet? Everybody check your calendar. It was so much back and forth. It took so much time.
Yeah.
So just setting a regular date helped us a lot. And we also don't always have everybody at every meeting either. So it's okay sometimes to just have a meeting with some of your officers.
Yes.
Okay, next is getting outside help. I know a lot of chapters are small and it's hard to get help and it can feel overwhelming when you're like, I'm the only person who can do this. That's great. You say to redelegate, there's nobody else to redelegate to. What are you talking about? This doesn't apply to me, right? And so not all of my advice will work for everybody, but think about, are there other people you can ask for help that aren't officers? There's a lot of different groups. So for example, have you asked JETAA USA? Have you asked USJETAA if they can help you? We happen to have a board of directors who will step in. They don't have enough time to do anything regularly, but they're our advisory group. And when we need something or we need to find a new person to join the officers, we say, can you work on this big problem for us? And they do that work outside of us and help support us. You can ask former chapter officers who don't have enough time day to day, but you can say, hey, we don't have enough manpower right now. Can you help me? Or do you have a better way to do what we're trying to do? Or we're having a problem with this. What's your advice? Reach out to former officers. You can ask officers from other chapters. You can ask anybody in this room probably. You can ask members from your chapter who aren't usually involved. So sometimes people, including former people in my organization, have given up on asking the greater membership because they just say nobody ever steps up. What's the point? It takes more work to do it myself, but sometimes people will step up. So keep trying. Beyond that, you can ask someone in your local Japanese community. Is there someone in like a Japan America Society? Is there a recruiter? Sometimes recruiters are very helpful because they're always looking for people who have Japan connections. So they're willing to help you with stuff because it kind of aligns with their business. So there was a sickness in my family this last year when I was trying to plan our big event for the year, which is our in-person job fair. And I have a friend who runs a job board. And I expressed my problem to her, and she stepped up to organize with the companies on my behalf. So she was never a JET. She's not an officer, but she was willing to help out in that case. Sometimes you can even ask your friends and family, like, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? You know, they can come and they can stand at a table with you. They can make the event more social. They can make more people. So if you just need to do something simple, like hand out materials or something, rope in your friends and family. You have children who are old enough to help? Great. Like I've had children helping us out at events. They find it fun sometimes.
Yeah. One of our board of directors, their son would help us out sometimes at our events. So he's very nice. Okay. All right. So people will come and go. You can always bring new members in. If someone needs to quit as a chapter leader for their mental health, don't harbor a grudge. Don't let resentment set in. Let them go without burning bridges. Maybe they can help you out later down the line. Have an onboarding process for the turnover is not painful. So what I do is I typed out an email that includes all the login details that this new person needs, and that I send that email out to this new person every time they start a new position. Always keep an eye open for potential future leaders in your general membership. Pay attention to who's been coming to your events, especially if they've come in more than once. That person is interested and wants to get involved. Identify promising candidates and actively recruit them to run for JEA leadership positions. Always be open to new volunteers. Don't give up searching for volunteers. Keep searching. Even if they aren't suitable for what they're asking to do, redirect them into a suitable volunteer project. Even if doing everything yourself seems easier, you still need to let others help you. If you do everything yourself, the chapter will become too dependent on you and it will make transitions difficult.
Yes, for example, we did have one leader and she didn't involve any of the other officers at one point. So that none of the other officers knew how the chapter worked. And then when she wasn't president anymore, it made the transition very difficult. So we have to sometimes share our responsibilities and let other people around us know how the events work so that it can continue on beyond you, because eventually you're not going to be there and you need to keep an eye toward the future.
Yes. The sustainability chapter of the chapter is really important.
All right, so next part of this is addressing the symptoms. So sometimes there's nothing you can do about the stressors. You can't get rid of them. So what can you do to protect your own mental health? If the stressor is outside of your control, like GIA, you have to get it done, right? If you can't eliminate that, you have to manage your stress to prevent burnout. So here are the things we're going to talk about in the next slides to manage your stress. Taking care of yourself, practicing mindfulness and relaxation, maintaining social connections, setting boundaries, and evaluating your goals.
Okay, number one is take care of yourself. So sleep, exercise, nutrition, and hygiene are very essential to your well-being. Prioritize these essential needs. If you think you hate everyone, please eat. If you feel everyone hates you, please. Okay. If you don't need an amazing exercise routine to feel better, a short walk can do wonders. Start small. I've heard people telling me, oh, just do one thing 5 minutes every day and then increase that. And then take a shower and brush your teeth every day, please. And you can't pour from an empty cup.
All right, so mindfulness and relaxation. You can keep perspective by including short mindfulness breaks into your day. You may feel like JETAA is a crisis, but let me assure you, the world keeps on turning. So you need to take a few moments and do like a perspective check. You can do activities promoting mindfulness and relaxation to help you live in the moment, find enjoyment, and it may help you to break negative spirals, which can lead to panic. Okay, so take deep breaths, try a meditation exercise, or just close your eyes for a minute or two. When I'm feeling stressed, sometimes I find it helps just to close my eyes for 30 seconds and just stop thinking about that whatever is bothering me for 30 seconds. Also, connecting with nature is scientifically proven to boost your mood. So I'm not just talking about national parks, which are great, and if you can make it out to those, I recommend it, but I'm talking just mundane sights. So look at a potted plant, find a tree you like in the parking lot, or even looking at pictures of nature on your computer. They've done studies. This can help your mental health just to look at a natural scene.
So there's a tree in my neighborhood that sometimes I will take a walk to, and it's really nice in early spring when it's flowering. So that's my favorite plant I like to see. Okay, so number 3, social connections. Withdrawal can often make you feel worse. Interact with others to help make yourself feel better. So your friends, your family members who can support you in your passion for JETAA. Acquaintances like your coworkers, you can talk about what you do with JETAA. For example, the events that you're planning, people in your group who are doing different tasks that's different from you. You can talk to your coworkers about that and let them know what you do as a volunteer. Even strangers such as baristas or cashiers can help you, make you feel less lonely. They're usually very talkative. They want to know how your day is. So engage and tell them about that. And pets, if you have pets, good job. Share pictures of them online, and they have an Instagram account I would like to follow.
Okay, next is setting boundaries. Some of us are overachievers and we find it hard to set boundaries, and not setting boundaries will eventually lead to burnout. So it is important to identify and enforce your personal boundaries, because boundaries help keep you safe and it protects your mental and physical health. So in a JETAA setting, these boundaries may include setting times of day when you're not available to respond to messages. So like, do you find yourself in bed at like 11:30 p.m. writing JETAA emails? Maybe you should stop that and do it the next day. Saying no to more volunteer work when you're already overwhelmed. Now, this is a tricky one because we all want our chapters to be successful. So there are often times where I am feeling overwhelmed and I will take on more work, but you need to know where your personal line is, where it's really like, no, I absolutely cannot do it. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but I can't do it. And in those cases, you can start looking for somebody else to take on some of your workload. Or like I said, even like a boyfriend or something like that, somebody, there's got to be somebody out there who can help you a little bit. So if you cannot take it anymore, you need to learn how to say no. And setting limits on how you allow others to address you. Don't let others talk down to you or verbally abuse you. So if there's, another officer who is not being respectful of you, for example, set some boundaries around that.
Okay, great. So number 5, evaluate your goals. What initially motivated you to become a JETAA leader? You may need to adjust your expectations and volunteer goals to regain a sense of inspiration and satisfaction. Prioritize your goals based on significance to your organization and how they align with your skills and interests. Focus on where you can make the most impact and gain the most joy. Communicate with your team about your feelings, work together to come up with alternative solutions. Usually, sometimes at the end of a meeting, when we have a little bit of time, somebody will say, oh, I've been having trouble with this, this, and this, and this. And like, can somebody else try to help me with this? I think that's happened once or twice, I want to say. Monitor your stress and adjust your commitments as needed to maintain a healthy balance.
All right, find your coping mechanisms. Finding coping mechanisms that work for you will take some time. Everyone's different, so not every piece of advice will be a perfect fit. Experiment with different strategies. And do not disparage others' coping mechanisms. We're all unique. So whether it's hugging a stuffed animal or going for a run, let everybody enjoy the methods that work for them.
Yes. Okay, so we have 2 exercises today. Do we have time to do this?
I think so.
Okay, so show of hands, who actually has done meditation before? Oh, wow, very nice. Okay, so if you have some water in front of you, please take a sip of water. And then we will sit up in our seats. Oh, I'm just gonna read the steps for everyone, just so we know what we're doing. We're gonna sit up in our seats and put your hand on the desk, in your lap. Claps were open, up or down, either way, whatever you're comfortable with. We're gonna close our eyes. We're gonna breathe in through our nose and then out through your mouth. Okay. If you feel uncomfortable breathing out through your mouth, you can also breathe out through your nose. And if you choose to breathe out through your mouth, you can use a gentle guttural sound, like as if you're like physically pushing out your stressors out from your body. Okay, so we are going to breathe in for 4 counts and then pause for 1 count and then breathe out for 6 counts. And then we will repeat for 5 minutes. And then we will open our eyes after 5 minutes. Can I get a timer for 5 minutes at all? Perfect. Okay. Let's start now. Is everyone ready? Awesome. Okay. Okay, sit up, close your eyes, hands on your desk or in your lap. And we'll relax our hands on our wrists. Because if you work at a computer, your hand's been on a mouse all day and they feel stiff. All right, so breathe in through your nose, and breathe out through your mouth. Okay. Next time we will breathe in for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause, and then breathe out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Imagine the bottom of your lung filling out first before the top of your lung. Okay. One more time. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, one more time. In. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and I'm gonna stop counting. Okay, breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Pause. Out. 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 in, pause, 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 out. Okay, and it's been 5 minutes. Please open your eyes, everyone. Okay, great.
Are you a little more
A
relaxed?
little bit more relaxed? Yes and no, maybe? Okay, great. Thank you
Okay.
so much for the timer.
All right. Okay, our next exercise is on a sheet of paper. Please write down 3 things you're grateful for related to JETAA. You don't have to overthink it. It can be as simple as a fun event or what JETAA has meant to you, or someone in your group stepping up, or why you're grateful JETAA exists. Don't write it down anything more than that. Try not to make it too personal because we're going to be reading some of these after you're done. So we're going to be sharing anonymously. So when you're done, fold your paper in half and I will be collecting them. If you happen to be watching this online, you can participate in the activity, even if you're watching this pre-recorded. You can take this time to write down some things you're grateful for. Okay. Okay, if you're online and you want to put any of your thoughts in the chat.
Looks like some people are still writing. Maybe 1 more minute. Who's done? You can hand them in. Anyone else? Okay, great.
Pick one from each. Okay, is everybody done?
Is everyone done?
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much for writing these down, by the way.
Yes. Okay. Comment from chat. I guess this is something to be grateful for. Enjoyed the breathing exercise.
Good.
What they said. Okay. We can take turns maybe.
Okay. So this person wrote a place for nostalgia and sharing memories of a time others in my life can't relate to so much. I see. I agree. Thank you. Alicia?
Okay. This person says, thankful for the opportunity to make plenty of new friends after moving to a new city.
Okay. This next one is grateful for the sense of community.
Grateful to find a group of people who have similar experiences.
I understand.
Okay, we change lives, promoting JET, and then helping to connect people after JET.
Awesome. Okay. This one says, sharing things with new and old members. Yes. There's someone here actually who's in the same town I was in JET. So I'm super excited to see him.
Learning new skills.
I'm grateful that the prior treasurer noticed my history of volunteer work and asked me to run when she decided to step back. Great. Actually, I'm here as an officer because Alicia dragged me into it.
That's right.
So I understand.
Okay, grateful that I met inspiring and wonderful people.
Oh, good. I learned that there are so many people who love Japan. Yes. Yes. We all had a hook that got us interested, but somehow that hook keeps hooking us.
President Melissa Golden is the gold standard.
Go, Melissa. Okay, great. And I think we're ready for questions.
Okay, so yeah, so how do you next? Okay, so does anyone have any questions?
Yes, David.
What do you use to manage your task list that you talked about? Do you use a certain technology or just use like a Excel spreadsheet?
Okay,
Good question.
The question was, how do we manage our task list online? So, so we've recently been talking about changing it up. So we have been trying out some project management software like a Kanban board. In the past, we tried Slack back in the day, but we didn't like that so much.
We also tried Basecamp, but that was a short trial before we decided not to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off here of does it help you enough to get your officers to pick up yet another software that they have to use every month?
Yeah, sounds like Slack's problem for ours.
Yeah, right. So what we have been doing is, first of all, we have the minutes every month, and at the end of the minutes is the task list with which we decide at the end of every meeting what everybody has to get done before the next month goes on the bottom of the minutes. And our minutes are public as well.
Yes.
On our website. So anybody can open the file at any time to read it on our website. They're just in a Google Doc, I believe.
Yes, they're on a Google Doc, and you can see it of all of our meetings, I think, in the last year, or at least a year.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a chapter Discord where we have some channels are open to everybody, but we have roles. So people who are officers have separate channels, and we have several channels for organizing. So we have officers only just to chat or talk about anything. We have an event planning sub channel. We have a job fair channel. We have I forget what all they are, but a meeting minutes.
Meetings info.
Minutes and info, right? So minutes and info is where the tasks go, and we put any important things that we need in the meeting in minutes, and we keep the chat out of that so that you can just view the important things on that. And then I will bug the officers on just like the officers only channel or through private message if they're not completing their tasks. Any other questions? Yes.
I'd love to hear from the officers in this room about why you do them.
Oh, that's a good question.
Do you want to answer first, or do you want
to? I love doing it. So I haven't burnt out because I have so much passion, and I try to bring in what's fun for me. So the thing is, if it's not fun for me, I'm not going to last. So it's like, what do I want to do? I can make a JETAA event around that. Is there, yeah, I want to go to a museum. Let's invite my friends from JETAA. Yeah, you know, I want to go to a restaurant. Let's invite my friends from JETAA. So it's sort of self-centered in that I get to spend my time and funds from the Japanese government, not only to connect jets, but to have fun myself. So that really keeps me going. And I just love helping people and inspiring the next generation of jets.
So my answer is a little bit long-winded, sorry. But I really love supporting my team. And as the webmaster, I handle a lot of technical issues. So I do a lot of password resets for everyone involved. Yeah, somebody asked me like 3 or 4 times in a row. We'll keep his name off
I don't even know.
I've kept his name off the record, so you don't know. Yeah, so, but I love being supportive of everyone in the group and as well as foster the feeling of community. So that's fine.
Does anyone else want to come up here and share?
Or just raise your hand and say.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, I originally just had my resume.
Okay, adding resume
that
is valid.
no longer the reason I do it.
Yes.
So I do it because I really like the people on the board. I think they're really fun to be around, and if I can engineer circumstances where I get to be around them more often, I do.
Awesome. Great. I love the engineering part of it. You did a great job.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have a really friendly officership too, where we enjoy spending time with each other, and I think we work really well as a team.
Yes. Does anyone want to share why they do what they do? Yes.
So I was involved with the Japanese American community before I went to Japan, and I knew most of the alumni before I left. So
Okay.
when I came, well, actually before I left, they're like, and we'll expect you to be on the council. So when I got back, we actually had one person who was doing double duty. She was secretary and newsletter coordinator at the same time. And she's like, if anyone, side-eyeing me very strongly, is available.
That was what she did to me.
Yes, so I've been newsletter coordinator for 6 years because of that one side eye.
Awesome. One side eye. That's all it takes.
Yeah, yeah. It's so important to try to be like friendly and have everyone you know keeping an eye out for people to rope in. Very crucial. So we're almost out of time here, but I just
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
does anyone have like one last question?
Or one last comment?
Okay. I have one comment to make. I would really encourage you for the rest of the convention to try to find other officers and ask them, how do you deal with burnout? How do you delegate? How do you find people? Any of those questions you want to know more about, network with the other people here and try to find out, like especially ways, how can I simplify my JETAA officer position? How can I cut down on busy work?
Yeah.
Please give me your ideas, because we can all learn from each other and we can learn better and faster ways of doing things. So just because you've done it a certain way for such a long time doesn't mean you can't change it up, especially if you're having trouble with burnout. Look for opportunities to make your life easier by accepting new ideas and trying to make changes in the places that you need to protect your mental health. And please take care of yourselves and enjoy being officers and leaders in the JET community.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for clapping. Okay,
Okay, that's it.
that's it.